Hey YouTube, Tara Patricia here. Welcome to my channel. Well, I couldn't put it off any longer. Have to do it. It's time to talk about our emotions and how to interact with them in a whole new way. And today, fear.
Good to be alive right about now.
So fear is a very interesting one because we kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. On one hand, we fear it. I mean, it makes us feel so uncomfortable, and who wants to stay in an area where we feel uncomfortable, right? And on the other hand, we love it. I mean, let's look about how we crave it and celebrate it during Halloween with haunted houses or that thrill of the up and down of the roller coaster. We love it then. Sometimes it makes us laugh. I mean, when we recognize that it's a game, think about viral videos and TikToks and all these things. When someone is scared out of their mind, we laugh at it. We think it's funny, so we enjoy it. But then what if it's not a game? Then it horrifies us. It angers us because we don't want to see something scary happening to another human being. So we can love it, we can hate it and fear it. It can enrage us and it can make us laugh. Fear can motivate us. I mean, think about being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. I know for sure you will run the fastest that you've ever run in all your born days, right? Or also, it can keep us safe. That whole idea of don't go close to the edge of that really tall building. Or I'm not gonna touch that stovetop because I did when I was little and boy, that hurt, so I'm not gonna do it again. So fear can keep us safe too. It can push us forward. I mean, think about it. When you're done with fear, when you've had enough and you just can't take it anymore, you're ready to stand up and do whatever you have to do, right? It's very motivating and pushes us forward there. But it can also debilitate us. It can stop us dead in our tracks and completely render us helpless. Fear affects us on so many different levels. But what's most interesting to me about fear is the control that it can have over us. And I get it. I mean, who wants to feel uncomfortable? Fear puts us in a space that we just don't like. So of course we want to run. We don't want to sit in it. We don't want to bask in its light, right? We want to do everything we can to just get out of this feeling that we have inside. That doesn't feel right. Not like joy or happiness. I mean, there we could sit for forever, right? Those are easy. Those are calm. Those are happy. But fear, it's a whole different story. But that's because we haven't understood it correctly till now. You see, emotions, they're like a feedback system for us. It's kind of like our sensory system. Think about it. We all understand what our senses do, right? Our senses help us interpret the outside environment. It lets us know how to do things, how to go about stuff. It gives us the information we need to understand our environment around us. If it's cold outside, I put on a coat. It helps me stay warm, right? If something feels really good, then I like it. I want to touch it again. I want to touch it more and more, right? Because that gives us a good feeling inside. There's all kinds of ways that we interpret our environment through our senses, our outside. But just like if it's cold outside and you run outside in shorts, or if it's hot outside and you put on a big parka jacket, well, it's not going to be so good for you, is it? Because you've misinterpreted the feedback that you're getting. It's the same thing for our emotions. If we're misinterpreting what's going on inside, well, we're not going to handle it. We're not going to navigate with it as well. But here's the issue with that. If our power and our truth and our answers all lie inside of us, then we have to interpret and learn to navigate our emotions because our emotions are what bring us back inside. So by shutting off our emotions and not learning how to navigate through them and understand them correctly, we're shutting off the inside, which is where our power is, which is where we have all the answers. So in order to get to the answers, it's just like any place. You use the correct highway, right? If I wanted to get in the car and hop on the road to San Antonio, well, I certainly am not going to get on the road that's going to take me to, I don't know, Dallas, right? So today, fear. We're going to get on the right road. So the thing with fear is we don't feel safe. It's a primal reaction to our human need to be safe, to be secure. But the key is we are safe. And that's where we start getting skewed. Now I have to say, of course, I'm not talking about physical safety. There are issues in life where, I mean, if someone's pointing a gun at your head, or if you're running from a saber-toothed tiger, of course, there's physical safety that has to be taken care of. I'm not saying you should just sit there and be like, oh, Mr. Saber-toothed tiger, sir, I'm safe, so do what you want with me. No, that wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. But what I'm talking about is emotional safety. So when those megalodons or those mastodons, whatever kind of dawn you have going on in your life, when those come up, we first have to interpret, is this a safety issue physically? And if it's not, because that's our warning, so we have two options with it. It warns us and it leads us. So our first thing is we say, okay, warning, warning, is this a real physical warning? And if it is, then of course we have to take care of it, right? I'm not saying otherwise. But if we can say, no, it's not a physical warning, this is an emotional situation that's coming up inside of me, my safety is emotional, then that's where it can lead us. And it leads us back inside. So the first thing, when we start going back inside with our fear, once we've ascertained there's no warning that is really needed to be heeded here, once we recognize that and we go back inside, the first thing we have to look at is our judgment. See, we love to judge. We judge everything. Even when we think we're not judging, we're judging. And sometimes that judging is important. It's kind of like an assessment of things. Sometimes we have to assess a situation. So that's an okay thing to do. But when we start putting judgment on things that holds us to a certain space, a certain emotion, or a certain thought, that's when it starts getting in our way. So like my example of how we are good with going into joy or to happiness or excitement. Those we judge as good. So we're like, okay, this is a cool place for me to go. Let's get on it. Let's hop on that train and let's go down as far as we can with it. We enjoy it. But when we attach judgment that we consider negative or bad or harmful to it, well, that's when we start pushing on our brakes and we start saying, whoa, easy cowboy, not gonna do that today. And so since our emotions, like our senses, are there to help us interpret what's our internal environment, and when we start pushing away from them, then it starts creating conflict inside of us, because we have this heart mind that's always linking up. So our thoughts have to be congruent, have to be aligned with how our heart is feeling too. So if our thoughts start going, oh, okay, whoa, 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 don't like that, that's judged as bad, so I'm not gonna go there, then we walk away from our inside, from our truth, then our inner truth meter, our hearts, our cores, whatever you want to call it, starts going, ooh, 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 not good, this is not good, I'm starting to get very unbalanced here, I'm starting to not feel so good, and so then we start having this kind of emotion, this kind of feeling inside, and this doesn't feel good at all either, right? So what do we have to do? Oh my God, we have to leave it, because who could sit there and be like this all day long inside, right? So of course we have to leave it. But when we leave it, again, we're leaving the highway that's taking us to the right spot. So what do? What we have to do is when we start getting this not connection, this conflict, because we're not wanting to go to fear, we have to step out of the way. We have to step aside, and we have to become almost an observer of the conflict that's going on. And we have to say, okay, I am emotionally safe. Let's look at this. We have to step out of the freak out that we're having, and we have to quiet the disconnect that's occurring inside of us. And then, and only then, will we be able to go back to the truth that's inside of us. And there is where you're going to get all the right answers. Okay, y'all, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure you go to my website, innerpathcoachingservices.com, and you can check out my blog on fear. It's called Panic, Fear, and My Dog That Barks Too Much, because she does. She barks way too much. Also, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and don't forget to like and subscribe. But more important than anything, come back next Friday and we can talk some more. And that, my friends, is fear.
It's good to be alive right about now.